Welcome back to Drawing My Eras as Various Nostalgic Medias, a speed art series we've had on my channel for quite some time. Previously, we drew my eras as Pets. It was so much fun. Please check out the previous video if you have not already. And today, we're going to be diving into one of my favorite franchises from Wild Child's era, Tamagotchis. That's right, we're going to be drawing my eras as Tamagotchis. I thought it'd be extra fun to also design the shells of the Tamagotchis as well as a little Tamagotchi creature itself. So for each of them today, we're going to be designing two different things for each era. Without further ado, let's begin. Now, of course, this is going to be a very simple art style because Tamagotchi is so simplistic and sweet, and I really love that for me because I'm going to spend most of my time on the shells. As you'll see, I'm going to put a lot of detail into the little outer shells of the system of a Tamagotchi, much more than the actual little characters because they are so simple. And while there are different life stages for each of the Tamagotchis, such as baby, teenager, then adult, I didn't really follow that basis considering baby Tamagotchis are literally just a little circle with eyes, and that doesn't really give me a whole lot of room to design Wild Child, whom I obviously wanted to make a little tadpole. I grabbed a few Tamagotchis for reference that I think would fit each era, and I knew I wanted to include some cat ears on Wild Child because of how much she wanted to be a cat and pretended to be a cat so much, while also maintaining the frogginess. And I also just love that one of the Tamagotchis literally has overalls. I was freaking gagged. I was so excited because I was like, oh my god, that means I can get away with putting overalls on my little Wild Child. Let's go. So here we have the notable Wild Child features, such as the 3 poofs of hair that are the bangs. I decided to not have them cover the eyes because, oh my freaking god, the little Tamagotchi eyes are so cute. Those little dot eyes are precious. I added a cute little tuft on top of her head to be like a little heart to kind of represent how I draw the little one hair out of place. Sometimes I draw it as a heart when she's really happy. The cat ears, and then oddly enough, I think this is the first time in this whole series I think I didn't include her big froggy cheeks because it just really didn't fit the art style. It was honestly a lot more closer to Tamagotchi by having it be almost like little blush, and then had her overalls, her little stubby feet, and then I added a little tadpole tail, and by little I mean it takes up half of her body because that's kind of a Tamagotchi thing, is exaggerating the little details. And I didn't give her arms because I thought that would really fit the vibe that Tamagotchis are kind of like these little monster alien creatures. The lore behind Tamagotchi is that Tamagotchis are real creatures that you're caring for, and they're in outer space, and the device that you carry around is a way to connect to them and help support and feed them, play with them, take care of them and stuff. So yeah, these are literally aliens. So I was like, you know what, for some reason taking the arms off, this sounds horrifying. Taking the arms off of my inner child, yeah, made it more Tamagotchi-like, which is just super. But once I designed her little character, I went on to the shell. And I think this is the one where I fussed over the details the most because I really wanted to be a Tamagotchi connection. I think I wanted every one of these to be a Tamagotchi connection because the eras are connected. They're all me, and I thought that would be really cool if they could all connect to each other because that makes total sense. And for the shell, I had to go full Wild Child. I wanted there to be a little pond. I wanted there to be flowers and bugs, especially the butterfly and ladybug. Those are just things I really associate with Wild Child. And I really wanted it to be very, very green with some highlights of yellow and orange because I think that's just perfectly WC. I just pulled straight from the backgrounds of Persona Project to really go all in on the water. I tried to make it all detailed and cute. I went for more of a lineless style because a lot of the shells aren't super detailed in that kind of way. I wasn't going for hyper-realism or anything, more just to pitch a concept of what it would look like. And for the background of each of these little Tamagotchis, they typically have this cute little stage of sorts where the little Tamagotchi lives. And for each of them, I want them to really represent each era. So I did some very faint pixel art in the background of a little pond with some grass, clouds, and some trees. And after much trial and error, this is Wild Chi. Yes, every Tamagotchi ends with Chi, which is kind of cute, so I get to make my own little names for them. So this is Wild Child as a Tamagotchi. And this is what her shell would look like if she were to design her very own device. This screams my inner child. It healed a part of me, I swear, to just take one of my favorite things ever and just be like, what if I made my own? Wild Child is just jumping up and down, stimming so hard, so happy right now because this is literally a dream come true for us. Next up is Blackbird. I had a very clear image in my mind of of how I wanted her shell to look, but I wanted to draw the character first, just so I could get my color palette down. There's surprisingly a lot of bird Tamagotchis, especially because of the newer editions with Tamagotchi Paradise. It is so fun. I especially love that there's all these different environments. Basically, there's like a forest, a sea, and a sky. And with the addition of a sky came all of these birds, and oh, it was just so fun to look at them all and have to pick out the ones that were the most Blackbird. There were even some that I remembered that were so lost media, I had to find like the most scuffed reference images of them. Oh, there's so much Tamagotchi lost media. One of my favorite games to play during Blackbird's era was on the PC. It was a online game called TamaTown, and it was this amazing game where you could connect your Tamagotchi to go into the town, and of course they had an arcade. They had an arcade with a claw machine, and I was freaking obsessed, to say the least. I adored that game. It's so sad that it's lost to time. It was so much fun. There was so much to do every day. It was kind of like a daily login kind of thing, kind of like Webkinz, all the things of the 2000s, you know. And Blackbird adored it. So yes, she's going to be a little bird, and I had to keep her little mask, and I wanted to keep 2 little tufts to represent the way that I draw her hair in 2 triangles, but in this case it's going to be round. That's just kind of the style of Tamagotchi. I wanted to give her a very sassy look. Like, I wanted to do like the little like :3 face, because that was one of my favorite little emoticons to use, but I wanted to translate it to bird, so she's doing like the sassy little :3, and I gave her little cheeks too, just to connect her to Wild Child. I thought that'd be cute, and some of the birds also had that in their design, so I thought I'd try to match it. And for the little feet, oh my god, I just did like the most basic stick figure legs. It was so weird for me, because I don't think I've ever had a phase in my life where I drew stick figures. Genuinely, I was just out the gate making art without doing the stick figure phase. So it was just really bizarre to draw that, and I was like, why does that actually work so well in my art style? It's kind of crazy. I made her tail nice and long though, and I kind of went back and forth with the colors a little bit, but after I got all of that settled, I was really happy with my Blackbird and moved on to the shell. The vision was so clear, y'all. I wanted this very nice ombre from turquoise down to dark blue, my favorite colors from that era. And on top, I didn't know how I was going to do this at first, but I really wanted the concept to be that there was these peace signs all over it, because that was like my favorite thing ever, but I wanted them to be sparkly. Like, I wanted them to almost seem like if you bought the shell, it would have sparkles on the outside. Like, it would have glittery, like a texture if you rubbed your fingers over them. I found a pen that worked, thank God. That was amazing. And I made this work so well. I just picked all of the colors that I used to have all around my room, which were pinks, purples, greens, and oranges. For the background, I had to pay respects to TamaTown, and I had to include a claw machine. I just thought it'd be so cute of a concept of a background for a Tamagotchi device to just have a claw machine, so it looks like your little Tamagotchi's like a little alive plushie inside of the machine, just like dancing around. How freaking adorable is that? Like, I'm kind of a genius, I'm not gonna lie. Rambles aside, this is Mockingjay, my little Blackbird Tamagotchi, with her very decked out, peace sign covered, claw machine coated Tamagotchi device. I chose Mockingjay because honestly all of the sounds that I choose for Blackbird are based off of mockingbirds, and that was the state bird of Florida, my home that I grew up in. So she's more of a mockingbird than anything, and I haven't really used that in this series so far, so this turned out as best as I could possibly imagine. I think this is honestly my favorite of the entire batch. Oh, Parker era number 3, my teenage self. I knew I was gonna pour my heart and soul out into the shell because it had to be very beautiful. So I went kind of the easier route for the actual Tamagotchi character for Parker because I knew I was gonna have to go ham on this device. I kind of just mishmashed a bunch of the references and definitely wanted it to be a fire, like another little fire Tamagotchi, because honestly there are some Tamagotchis that look similar to each other that are kind of in the same family tree, so that was kind of the premise I was going off of here. I knew I wanted to steal the little angry eyes from the little cat. That little black cat Tamagotchi was like literally one of my favorites growing up for some reason, and apparently in the Tamagotchi anime that exists. Yeah, it exists. There's also a movie. I used to love the movie too. They were so cool and edgy. But I couldn't really stick with the original colors for Parker's era because they just weren't bright enough for Tamagotchi. Tamagotchi. Like, a lot of them are very muted fall colors and everything. That's beautiful and fine, but Tamagotchi is kind of bright, and so I had to brighten up the oranges a little bit. And at this point, I have just decided I'm gonna connect all of them because I'm doing Tamagotchi connection. I thought that'd be a really great little thing to do, is to connect them physically through design with little circles on their cheeks. Everybody gets them. Everybody gets either little dimples or little circles or something on their cheeks because I thought that'd be fun. I never really got to do that in any of the other design videos. I snuck on a little scarf for Parker, and honestly for the little body, I just decided to make it all one color. I thought that'd be so cute, and it honestly works so well. It looks so good. I almost like to imagine it's made of wood. And with that character out of the way, it was time to go ham on this Parker device. Oh, let me tell you, the Tamagotchi that I was basing this off of was a really neat little mini series release that was based off of music. They were called like music stars, I think, and they came with like these cute little keychains with like a little guitar pick with a little special design on them. They'd have like little careers and they would all be musical, and they just made the cutest little sounds because of it. And I was like, oh my god, it makes total sense. Parker is such a big musician, but I was also a huge weeb, so I had to make sure I made the background very, very close to a poster I used to have in my room. It was this amazing poster. It was a monochromatic poster of Japan. It had a very beautiful building, big mountains in the background with snow on top, and then a big cherry blossom tree with all these petals falling down. It was absolutely gorgeous. I used to love that poster. It was like my favorite thing on earth. So I tried to kind of replicate it in my very lineless, bubbly art style, so it was still my own and not too realistic that it was uncanny. For the background, I decided to go back outside again, like I did with Wild Child. I thought it'd be nice to have an open background with the trees and Parker's signature tire swing. You'll hear so much about this tire swing in Persona Project. It was my favorite place. It was my safe place. After I decorated the adorable little guitar pick to ironically not be a guitar, it's gonna have the piano because that's the instrument that I played. I know that sounds really strange that I'm just like, yeah, this guitar pick has a piano on it, but you know what? It's fine. It's just for decoration. It's chill. It's meant to be cute and match Parker, okay? But after all of that was done, this is how it all turned out in the end. For Parker as a Tamagotchi, my little Rebel Chi, of course I had to use Rebel. Of course I had to use Rebel for Parker. I just love how monochrome that was. That was a bit of a challenge for me. I don't typically like to do that. I like to jump all over the color scale and make everything eye bleeding and annoying at all times. So this was kind of a challenge and I really liked it. So Parker, my teenage self, I hope this passes the test. It's Holly Era's turn, my young adult self, my college self. There was obviously many a cat Tamagotchis. Cats have been and will always be a popular topic, I think, in character design, but ultimately I kind of settled on something between a berry and a cat? Question mark. All I knew is I used to love Violet Chi. Violet Chi is the little purple one with little flowers on top. I always thought that she was a little koala and those were one of my favorite animals at the time. And I love the eyes. They're so unique and they have like this cute little scribbly art style. And I kept this cute little V mouth because I used to do a lot of little emotes with the carrots and V's in Holly's era. And I really struggled for a moment to figure out where I wanted to put these kind of like holly berries because I almost wanted to make her a strawberry, like entirely a strawberry, but there was already a Tamagotchi like that and it ended up looking way too similar, so I scrapped that idea and I knew I was just gonna put the holly berries somewhere on the design. Instead of putting them on like one side of her design like I usually do, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I just do it almost like they're little pom-poms like on top of her head? And honestly, that worked out so freaking adorably and perfectly because then her little round body looks like she's also just like the middle of the holly berry, and I thought that was so perfect and cute. I exaggerated those ears though. It's a little more bunny-like, but that's kind of how Tamagotchi did it, so I was just using my references for that one. And then I did decide to give her like a cute little tail, but really simplify it because they like to use just line art sometimes, so I didn't even color it in. It was just literally a little line. Works out perfect because everybody knows that I draw me and my eras with one little hair out of place, so now it's kind of working as a tail. The colors, I did struggle a little bit. There's just so many ways I could have done it. I just didn't know how much red I wanted, how much pink I wanted, and the greens were getting kind of weird, and I had to kind of go off the regular color palette again because it just was too dull for Tamagotchi. They're very bright colors. And then I moved on to the shell, which, oh my god, has way too much detail. I don't know what possessed me in this moment, but I was like, I'm going ham. I just went ham. I don't know, man. I knew from the beginning I was gonna make this a strawberry shortcake because I was obsessed with shortcake during this time. I worked at a tea room and I used to have strawberry and cream scones all the time. Working there was like my favorite little treat to sneak in the back, and I was like, yeah, I definitely have to have either scones or strawberry shortcake or something very strawberry core, because that was one of my favorite things during Holly's era. And that's why I made the little top of the device have a little strawberry on top. I was like, honestly, why didn't Tamagotchi do this before? Because this is adorable. Like, this is so cute. But yeah, I basically made it look like you sliced into a piece of cake and there's all these strawberries everywhere. And oh my god, it was just so freaking adorable, and the colors were just... oh, divine. I have always loved this color palette ever since I was a small kid. Yellows and greens and reds. Oh my gosh, there's such a cute color palette. Oh my god, it's just perfect. Then for the background, I wanted to be indoors for Holly because I was such a hard worker. I was just like literally locked in. And I thought it'd be really adorable to do like a little easel and put little paw prints on it because she's a cat, and then like drawing the cake kind of thing. Almost implying that she drew the shell, like she designed the shell, which is so cute. I added a little paintbrush and a little paint can, and then I also added a little window because I spent a lot of time in my window seat. I used to have a window seat that my stepdad built for me in my room, and that was like Holly's favorite spot. So it's just really nice to kind of pay tribute to my old room that raised me in the background here, considering it's one of the last eras I spent in that room. With the final touches to Holly era's Tamagotchi device, this is the final product. Holly Chi! Of course it's just gonna be Holly Chi. I almost wanted to do Kitty Chi or Cat Chi, but I figured that was probably already taken because those are very generic names. I love it. It's so freaking perfect and adorable. I am absolutely obsessed with this color palette. It's always been my favorite. Holly's designs always go off in this series because of this color palette. I'm telling you, she's just got the best one out of everybody, I swear. Oh, this one's my second favorite. I still think Blackbird's is my favorite, but this one's a close second for sure. Oh boy, Haley era. I knew I was gonna go crazy on the shell again. I think that's where most of my details are going with this, considering all the characters are very simple. But this one especially, I was like, all right, I'm locking in. This one's gonna be the most detailed. But I wanted to pay tribute to one of my favorite little Tamagotchis, Kuchipachi, who is a little green, little dinosaur looking guy. I love him. He's almost like a Kappa, I think. He's very adorable. But I wanted it to be very dinosaur-like because, yeah, they have dinosaur Tamagotchis, of course. And I wanted there to be a little plant, too, motif going on with Haley era. Considering I associate her with lemons and plants, I thought this would be a really great mix to do this little design of my favorite Tamagotchi ever, adding some of the little dinosaur features, and then a little plant on top. I think that's just so cute. I think it's an underrated accessory to have a little sprout coming out of their head. I think that's adorable. And instead of just having one circle on Haley's cheek, I did cave. I just put 3. I was like, you know what, this is simple enough. There isn't much else going on with this design. Boom, boom, boom. This was the fastest one by far. It was just like, I blinked and it was over, and Haley Tamagotchi just existed. I was like, wow, okay. Shoot, great, because I'm gonna spend all of my time on this device. Oh my god. I wanted so desperately to copy the idea of having a comic book as the background with like these panels and everything, because that's when I ran Brightside Masks RPG. It was in Haley's era. It was a big Haley era thing for me to run a TTRPG that was about superheroes and comic books. I was like, oh gosh, I just have to do it, because I haven't really mentioned that in this series thus far. I haven't really done much of the superhero side of things for Haley, which I should, and I've been sleeping on that, so I'm waking up now. I'm waking up, I'm going in, and I'm doing this detail now. So I decided to draw her, like, Tamagotchi on the side of it, because, you know, that was kind of like the cool part about Tamagotchis at the time, was that if you got like a very special shell, especially ones that represented like specific little characters you could get in the game, it was like so aesthetic if you got the Tamagotchi that was on your shell to be actually in your game and be like, yeah, I got them. I got Mimi Chi, and Mimi Chi's on the front. What of it? Like, I'm so cool, right? Like, it was just like a status thing to like be like, yeah, I got the Tamagotchi on the shell. So I wanted to put her all over the shell. There was some really neat little details in this, honestly. I had her laughing in a corner because I think it's the time I laughed the most was in Haley's era. I think I was just really authentic and finally going back to my roots of being more like Wild Child and Parker. And then I did a panel of Haley cursing up a storm because, like, oh my god, if you watch Brightside god, you understand. I was cursing up a storm during that era. I was in my pirate arc. I was literally just like a sailor swearing all the time. So I thought that'd be really funny. And I kept the color palette very close to like Haley's with turquoise and some dark blues. I even added some purple, which kind of shocked me. I didn't think that was gonna work, but it really did. It was really cute. And then I decided to make the little tip of the device a little lemon. For the background, I went a lot more closer to what it actually looks like in Tamagotchi, but instead there's a couple of dice with my favorite numbers, 3 and 4. I thought that'd be really cool to have a little dice in the background to represent the TTRPG stuff that I've been neglecting this entire series. I'm sorry, Haley. I'm sorry, Haley. But this is Sourchi, my little Tamagotchi for Haley era. I thought Sourchi would be cute considering lemons are very sour, and I also was obsessed with Sour Patch Kids during this time. That was my favorite candy. So it all ties together with my beautiful little comic shell. It turned out so freaking cute. It looks very close to the reference, but it's also my own. I love it. It's literally so cool. And I learned a little bit about the color palette for Haley. Who would have thought purple would be so beautiful? Like this periwinkle would work so well with my dinosaur self. For the final era of the day, Robin's era, I've been on a bit of a Halloween kick in this series. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of Halloween core things are kind of popping up for me in Robin's era. I am such a Halloween fiend. I've always have been and always will be. It is my favorite holiday. But I think now more than ever, I feel a lot safer and happier expressing my fixation for this kind of special interest I have. In the past, I feel like I was kind of shut down, but now I'm just kind of absolutely going feral over Halloween, which is great. So in that spirit, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go for a pumpkin bat kind of thing. As much as I love doing birds, I feel like I want to do that more for Blackbird. And with Robin, with this series, I've been doing a lot of like bats and dragons and things. So I was like, oh, this would be perfect. It's a way I could work in the orange in the color palette and the yellows and the greens and everything that I have on my current era. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be so good because it's just gonna tie everything together. I added a little heart where the leaf would be, and I added a little doinker out of place like I usually do, except it's kind of like a vine on top of the pumpkin. And then I made like this cute little cape because again, I've been sleeping on the superhero stuff so bad. I still currently play RPGs and play superhero RPGs specifically every week of my life, and I don't think I will ever stop. And I think that's just a really core part of me at this point is superheroes, so having a cape on my current era makes sense. Also, I kind of do think Robin is a bit of a hero in their own right for stepping up to the plate and deciding to finally heal our past and everything. I think this is a really fundamental era for me. I added the stripes that would normally be on the orange shirt onto the belly, and why did that work so good? It looks so cute. I added the cheeks and a couple little stripes. I was gonna go all stripes, but it just didn't look right anymore. Like I wanted to make sure it wasn't too complicated. And once I had Robin down, I knew exactly what I wanted for this shell. I wanted it to be a very cool retro style shell from the 90s. I wanted it to have the little triangles and circles and like the little squiggly lines and stars. I wanted it to be very 90s core. I mean, that's all over my channel nowadays. You can see it everywhere. It's like my favorite thing. And that design is honestly pretty darn simple. You just draw down some triangles without line art and some squares and stuff, and then you draw a line art over it very messily. It just looks so good every time. I love it. It's so simple, so good. I added some teal onto the design, which I was not expecting to do, but it contrasts really well with the other colors, and some magentas too. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much about the color palettes in this one because it's so simple, I think. I actually really like that. I love when I learn something when I sit down and do these series. It's just so great. Art is such a fun thing to do because you're always learning, and I love that. For the background, I just made it look like we were peering into a spooky little house. So there's like this candle with melted wax on the windowsill, and then you see some ghostly pumpkins, and then a little cobweb with a spider dangling down. I just thought it'd be really cute because if the Tamagotchi was like dancing in the background, it would look like they're literally having a little party in their little spooky little house. I just thought it'd be so cute. And it was so simple and sweet. I just really adored how this all turned out. Look at Spookchi! Oh my god. I love the idea that I'm leaning more into my other kind of more obscure fixations with my current era, like Halloween. I just love that, and superheroes. It's just so nice. I am such a complex person, and it's so fun to discover all these other little facets of myself and finally let them out after being dormant for so long, especially with the little 90s shell. Oh my god, I love being a 90s kid, man. It takes me back. It's so nostalgic and fun. So many fond memories. This whole thing is so nostalgic and so heartwarming for me to do. I absolutely love this series, y'all. How'd you think I did? Because I think I did absolutely wonderful with this one. Tamagotchis were my favorite thing as a kid, man. They connected me to other kids so easily, and as an autistic person, it was really fundamental for me to have a way to connect to others growing up. I've always loved the simple art style, the simple gameplay, and the idea of just having a little alien pet you carry around everywhere was just so fun, and something I still continue to do to this day. Yeah, as you know, sometimes you'll hear on streams, I'm playing with my Tamagotchi and making sure they're okay. For our next challenge in this series, it's actually a suggestion from my brother. That's right, my brother made a suggestion for this series, and it's an absolutely genius one. We're going to be drawing my eras as Kirby characters. Kirby is one of my brother and I's absolute favorite games and series of all time, especially my brother's. I think is his absolute favorite, and I can't believe I haven't drawn them this far considering how much it's influenced both of us. But it'll be really fun figuring out which Kirbys they would be if they had different little Kirby power-ups, or were different types of enemies in the game, or little NPCs, important characters, villains, heroes. We will discover all of these things in the next video. I hope to see you there, and thank you so much for watching this one. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. Bye-bye!